Funny, this Nellie Lovett, this lady who loves Sweeney Todd, would do anything for him, bakes people pies and doesn't...
She bakes people pies, yeah. Well, she's expedient and you know, terribly poor. And really she looks upon it in that way. You know, you use what is available. And it seems such a waste. Here we have all this raw material just going to waste. It seems such a waste in her amoral kind of mind. So she just took advantage of an opportunity and, you know, prevailed upon Sweeney to go along with her. She was a kind of driving force in that instance.
Well, I've read that you know, you're from an English acting family, and you say you knew Nellie Lovett the moment you read her. How? Why?
I just know her type of woman. I didn't know her personally, obviously, but she certainly is a mass of all the characters and people that I've seen, studied, seen in plays, the Dickensian characters I've known, maids that worked for us when I was a little girl, you know, the wonderful Londoner type of people.
Strong?
Who were so jolly, so strong, like oxes, you know. We had one wonderful woman called Beatty who worked for us when I was a child, and she came from Battersea. Beatty from Battersea, and I mean, she was just she looked like I feel Mrs. Lovett looks, and
with the pigtails and the
well, practically, she actually didn't have pigtails. She had curly blonde hair, but she had the same kind of wild look in her eye and a great sense of humor and a tremendous physicality. And she moved, you know, when she scrubbed a floor, she really scrubbed the heck out of it, you know. She cleaned it.
Does the strength of Nellie Lovett in any way remind you of your mother's? Because in reading about your mother, she was widowed when you were really young children.
Yes.
And took the bull by the horns. And
she did. She was an extraordinary woman, my mother, in that she seemed challenged at a time in her life when she could easily have just sort of stood off and said, well, we'll just get on with it the best we can. No, that was the moment in her life when she really picked up the cudgel and said, I'm going to make it right for this family that I'm not the head of, because she was a widow, and I'm going to help my children to get every opportunity they can to make the most of their lives. And she did this in the most marvelous way, with a great sense of humor. She was Irish, you know, and she came from the north of Ireland, and I really have to give credit to that side of my family for, I think, what I consider as a rather strange sense of humor.
Why?
It's what we call fey. I think I have probably an Irish fey quality to my humor on stage, which works terribly effectively in some instances. People don't always understand it, but they respond to it.
Is it Nellie Lovett?
It's making an ass of yourself, as we call it, really. That's really what it all boils down to. You're just not afraid to make an ass of yourself on stage.
But you know, you have had, I mean, just in reading about you, you have had a very full life in a lot of ways, and you are married to, in reading about you, what must be a very extraordinary man, Peter Shaw.
Yes, you're quite right. Yes. I'm fortunate indeed to be married to a man whose total loyalty and understanding and affection, I believe, for me and mine for him, that has made it really a marvelous experience for us both. And I think our working together as we are now is the culmination of all of his years of experience as head of production at MGM, or being the head of the motion picture department of William Morris Agency. I mean, I couldn't have a more stalwart, extraordinarily well-trained person to be at the helm of our little business, which is
you?
Angela Lansbury, Inc.
Yes, but you know how extraordinary, because how many men in today's world will give it all up and put all of their eggs in your basket and say, we'll make it work for you?
Well, we always feel as if it's us. It's not really me. We're utilizing a commodity, which is a God-given talent.
Yes.
And I think he cherishes and understands that better than anybody, and he will never sell it short. He's always very careful how it's produced and presented.
Do the two of you have an extraordinary sense of communication? Because we talk about this a lot on the show, what makes a marriage work. Do you think that might be part of the reason?
Oh, I do believe so. I think when you've been married as long as we have, there's an unspoken understanding between two people, and we read one another without saying a word. And we don't hesitate to discuss everything, and I mean everything. And that's that wonderful dialogue that two people who've been together as long as we have had.
Yes.
Somebody likened it to a long playing record that just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on until one of us stops.
You know, tell me about The Mirror Cracked, if you would.
Well, that's a lovely movie that's come out at Christmas time, and it's the first of what I hope will be 3 Miss Marple stories
Miss Marple being Agatha Christie's wonderful character.
Yes, her wonderful sleuth, her old lady sleuth, who is written as being about 80 or 85. I mean, she's really doddering. We've kind of made her a little bit younger than that, about 75. Although, unfortunately, sorry, I kicked that over with my foot. Unfortunately, in the movie, I hurt my leg way up in the front of the script, and I'm supposed to sprain my ankle, so I'm sort of confined to quarters all through the movie, which is a shame, because the next time I'm out, I want to be more out on the trail with my big magnifying glass.
But you changed Miss Marple, didn't you?
I didn't change her from the way Agatha Christie wrote her. I did change her from the way she was portrayed by Dame Margaret Rutherford.
Yes.
Because, of course, the stories that they used for the Margaret Rutherford movies were not actually Miss Marple stories. I have to explain that, because they couldn't find any of the Marple stories where the character behaved in a sort of charming and funny enough way for Margaret Rutherford. So they tailored some of Agatha Christie's other whodunits and put Marple into them. What the ones that we're going to do, Agatha Christie actually wrote for Miss Marple herself.
Okay. Sunset Boulevard is something you're looking forward to. Not too long ago, I had a chance to talk to Gloria Swanson.
Oh, did you?
Yes, a remarkable woman.
Yes.
But you would take the role that Gloria Swanson played, and you will do that role, won't you?
Yes, I'll be different from Gloria Swanson, I can assure you
Is that fun, Angela, to take a role that's already been done and tailor it to your own?
It isn't really, you know. It's something that I have had to deal with an awful lot in my career, but it isn't. It's better. It's nicer, really, to originate a role yourself.
It is? And put all of yourself into it? Is it almost more of a challenge?
Because you see, you're always the victim of comparison otherwise.
True.
And people are always so dying to say, well, oh, I didn't like the way she did that. I thought the way so-and-so did it was much better, you know. So you're up against this continuous sort of comparison, and that's rough.
Of course, you know, I'm not putting Rosalind Russell down at all, except that there will never be a Mame like you. So you're doing that to the others that try now to follow you as Mame. So
well,
I guess
there have been some wonderful names. Lots of girls have done Mame and followed me in that. But
no, but you.
I always look upon it really kind of. And my Mame, I always felt was just a little different.